Hey guys, I'm Ryan Greenspan from San Diego Dynasty, coming at you with another edition of Play Smart Paintball, brought to you by my friends Mike and Travis over at pbswagbag.com. Now, I want you guys to take a minute to go check out pbswagbag.com, give them a like, give them a follow on social media, and thank them actually because they're the ones who are responsible for bringing you these editions of Play Smart Paintball and all the other instructional videos that I'm going to be coming out with and I have come out with in the past. Now, after that, I take into consideration a lot of the comments and a lot of the stuff that you guys send me. A lot of the times I ask, what do you guys want to learn? Mike and Travis over at pbswagbag.com, they'll go ahead and tell me, hey, let's do something like this or let's do something like that, and I'll make that video. Now, this one is more of a viewer video that I've collected from all the comments that you guys leave on my YouTube channel and my Instagram channel. Now, what I'm going to cover today is headfirst diving, or Superman diving, as a lot of the guys have written and commented about. Now, a couple of things that I want to cover right before we go into the headfirst dive is I want you guys to be as confident and comfortable with diving headfirst as possible before you guys actually use it and execute it in a game. So with that said, I'm going to have you guys play and try to do this drill without your markers in your hand. And then we're going to get more comfortable with it after we dive a couple of times, and then we're going to put our markers back in our hand and we're going to reevaluate and redo the situation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my marker on the ground so my hands are free. So I'm going to move it out of my way a little bit because I'm going to be diving straight at you guys. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is there is a common misconception when you hear the term Superman dive. Now, at no point in time should you actually be off the ground. That just is, there's a possibility for more things to go wrong. You want to be as close to the ground as possible. Now, a little analogy is, have you ever dove into the shallow end of a pool? If you're going to go dive into the shallow end of a pool or any little river or lake or whatever it is that you know that it's not very deep, you always want to skim across the top of the water, hitting as much surface area on the water, without doing a belly flop obviously, as you possibly can, so you don't go head first into the bottom of the pool, right? So the same concept is here, that when I'm going down, as I create my dive, and I'm coming into the part where gravity is now taking over completely, it's nearly impossible to show you this in slow motion just because, and explain it, because gravity will just have me fall over. But this is where you're gonna need to explode forward and give that more surface area. So as I come into this dive, the big thing to remember is you want to have your palms facing up. The reason you want to have your palms facing up is when we put our marker back in our hands, we want to make sure your barrel tip is pointing up, okay? I'm going to take my barrel condom off real quickly so I can illustrate it a little bit better. The gun is safe. The gun is not aired up. Don't worry, there's no one around. Please don't tell me that I'm being unsafe right now. So the first thing you're going to do is, as you're running, okay, your body mechanics, this is how your body looks when you're running, okay? You want to make sure that your barrel tip is almost always pointed up because it's in a safe direction, as when you go to dive or slide, or if you trip and fall, your barrel's protected and you don't get a core sample. So now, as I'm going to make my dive and I'm coming into it, at this point right here, when gravity takes over, I'm going to explode forward with my back legs. My legs are going to push me forward here, and I'm going to thrust my gun hand and my other hand forward. Notice how my barrel tip is pointed up right now at this point. I'm gonna have my barrel tip pointed directly forward and up, keeping it safe, keeping it off the dirt. Too often I see a lot of players diving with their hands and their guns down like this and just dragging their gun through the mud and through the dirt. That's obviously a problem because I'm sure that a handful of you guys have always had this happen, where you've got a little bit of a soil sample, is what we call it. A core sample, where your barrel fills up with a little bit of dirt and a little bit of mud and renders your gun inoperable, okay? So think of your equipment a lot like an extension of your body. You want to keep it working all the time. Now, let me put this back down. So, as I go to enter into my dive, think of a shallow end pool dive, okay? When I'm coming down, and like I said, gravity's taking over, I'm gonna thrust myself forward, not up. Okay, so my legs, this back leg as I come forward, it's gonna push me. This is where I'm gonna get the majority of my power, is off this back leg. I'm gonna push both of my arms as far forward as possible. All right, the reason for this is, again, more surface area, okay? Also, we're evenly distributing our weight across the dive. We want our arms straight out in front of us, almost like a pair of skis or the skis on the front of a snowmobile, okay? Think of it this way. If those skis under the snowmobile were directly under all the weight, you're gonna sink, okay? So the better chance to have that you're gonna slide is straight out like this, okay? So let me go ahead and do this really quickly. Let's see how it works. Now, a good way to do this also is by grabbing yourself a marker, an actual, a figurative marker, so something to put kind of somewhere so you can see it, like that, not your actual paintball marker. And I use that as my point where I want to stop, okay? So the best way to start by doing this is to visualize where you need to be and explode towards that spot. So I want to dive to this. So this is where you're going to practice on the explosiveness out of the back of your legs. So without moving, I just jump and reach, okay? I came up a little short. That's all right, but I'm getting the hang of it. So again, maybe a little bit more power. Jump and reach. There we go. So now I'm getting a little bit better and a little bit more confident, and I can stand back a little bit. Notice how my arms are completely outstretched rather than keeping them really tight against my body. That's a very important part, because I'm going to show you really quickly what it's like when your hands are really close to your body. So if I come forward and I do that, you see a lot of people doing little scorpions, and it's really uncomfortable. So it's really important that you keep your arms incredibly far outstretched. As you get more and more comfortable with these dives, grab all your equipment and start implementing what we've practiced. Notice how my barrel tip is pointed up as I dive in. My body's low. I don't jump off the ground. You can see it here from several different angles as I practice it and implement everything that we've talked about, and then I feel more and more comfortable with it. After you view this, if you like it, please go over to pbswagbag.com, check out their monthly deals, and see what you can get when you can get laced up every single month with new swag, so you're looking fresh every single time you step on the paintball field. So give Mike and Travis over at pbswagbag.com a like, a wink, a nod, a follow, whatever it is that you guys do on social media these days, to show them appreciation and thank them very much for sponsoring these videos for you guys. Thanks a lot.